Chosen one. This moment is not random, and this message did not find you by accident. Heaven is speaking because something in your life has reached its expiration date, and God says you have outgrown your old reality. What once fit you now feels tight. What once fulfilled you now leaves you restless. That is not confusion, that is confirmation. Anointed one, you are standing at the edge of a divine transition, and the discomfort you feel is proof that growth has already begun in the unseen. Chosen one, when God prepares to elevate you, He first makes the old level unbearable. The routines, the mindsets, the environments, even certain relationships no longer resonate because your spirit has matured beyond them. You are not losing your way, you are shedding what cannot follow you. This is sacred separation. This is supernatural alignment. This is the moment where heaven whispers, "You cannot stay here anymore." Anointed one, listen closely. The boredom, the inattention, the sense that something is ending without knowing what is beginning, these are signs of divine upgrade. God is not dismantling your life. He is making room for what your old reality could never contain. If your spirit is bearing witness to this word, quietly align with it. Stay connected, stay attentive. And if this message confirms what you've been feeling, let it seal in faith. You may even find yourself drawn to mark this moment by commenting 777. Chosen one, prepare your heart. What follows will explain why your next level can no longer be delayed. Chosen one, there is a reason your spirit has felt unsettled lately, and it is deeper than restlessness or fatigue. What you are sensing is not a problem, it is a summons. God says you have outgrown your old reality, and heaven is responding to that growth. When a seed breaks the soil, it does not do so quietly. There is pressure, there is tension, there is disruption. But none of it is accidental. That pressure is proof that life is pushing upward. In the same way, the discomfort you've been carrying is not meant to crush you. It is meant to move you. Anointed one, there comes a moment when God stops comforting you in a season and starts calling you out of it. What once felt familiar now feels restrictive. What once made sense now feels misaligned. You may have tried to pray the feeling away, to reason with it, to distract yourself from it, but it keeps returning. That is because this is not anxiety, this is alignment breaking through. Heaven does not allow you to stay comfortable in a place that can no longer sustain the version of you that has been forming in secret. Chosen one. I want to speak to you not only as a messenger, but as someone who has lived through this exact kind of divine disruption. There was a season in my life where everything looked fine on the outside. Nothing was falling apart dramatically, no major crisis, no visible collapse. Yet inside I felt like I was suffocating. My routines worked, but they no longer nourished me. My environment was stable, but my spirit felt starved. I kept asking God what was wrong with me until I finally understood nothing was wrong. I had simply grown past what once fit, and growth will always make the old container feel uncomfortable. Anointed one. God does not promote what has not matured, but when maturity is complete, heaven intervenes decisively. You are not imagining this shift. You are not being dramatic. You are not ungrateful. You are being prepared. There is a difference between restlessness that comes from fear and restlessness that comes from calling. Fear-driven restlessness makes you anxious and scattered. Calling-driven restlessness makes you alert, discerning, and aware that something must change. The fact that your spirit is awake right now tells me this is the latter. Chosen one. There are people listening to this who feel guilty for wanting more, as if desiring elevation somehow makes them disloyal to their past. But hear this clearly, outgrowing is not dishonor. It is obedience. Even Scripture reminds us that when the time of fulfillment arrives, the vision speaks and does not lie, even if it seems delayed. Delay is not denial. Delay is preparation. And now something in the unseen has reached completion. Anointed One, you may have noticed that certain conversations no longer satisfy you. Certain environments drain you. Certain goals that once motivated you now feel empty. That is because God is withdrawing the emotional reward from what is no longer aligned. He does this intentionally. If He allowed the old season to continue feeling good, you would never leave it. So He allows the discomfort. He allows the dissatisfaction. He allows the holy discontent that pushes you forward. Chosen One, I need you to understand this heaven-backed elevation often begins with silent separation. Before God adds, He subtracts. Before He expands, He clears. Before He transfers, He detaches. And detachment feels like loss when you do not yet see what is coming. You may feel like you are losing interest, losing connections, losing momentum, but in truth, you are losing weight. You are being lightened for the ascent. Anointed One, there was a time I resisted this process. I tried to carry my old reality into my new season. I tried to keep old habits, old thought patterns, old survival strategies while asking God for new levels. And I learned the hard way that elevation does not tolerate excess baggage. You cannot climb higher while dragging what was designed for a lower altitude. God is not punishing you by removing things. He is protecting what He is about to entrust to you. Chosen One, this message is not just about emotional growth. It is about divine transfer. There are assignments, resources, opportunities, and yes, provision that cannot access you where you are. Heaven does not pour new wine into old wineskins, not because the wine is bad, but because the container would rupture. God says your old reality cannot sustain the weight of what is coming, and He loves you too much to let blessing destroy you. Anointed One, you may feel like you are standing in between, no longer comfortable in the old, not yet established in the new. This in-between space can feel lonely. It can feel quiet. It can feel uncertain. But it is also one of the most sacred spaces you will ever occupy. This is where identity solidifies. This is where motives are purified. This is where heaven watches how you respond when you no longer have clarity, but you still choose trust. Chosen One, I want you to know that I did not step into my next level because I felt ready. I stepped into it because staying where I was became unbearable. That is often how God moves. He closes the emotional door before He opens the physical one. And if you are honest with yourself, staying feels heavier than leaving now. That is your confirmation. Anointed One, do not rush this moment, but do not resist it either. Surrender does not mean passivity. It means agreement. It means saying, God, if you are shifting me, I will not cling to what you are removing. Heaven responds quickly to yielded hearts. Alignment accelerates provision. Obedience shortens transitions. Chosen One, as you listen, let your spirit settle into this truth. You are not late, you are not behind, and you are not missing anything. You are right on time for a divine recalibration. What feels like an ending is actually an upgrade in disguise, and what you are being asked to release now is small compared to what heaven is preparing to place into your hands. Stay with this word. Let it work on you. Let it confront you gently but firmly. Because once you recognize that you have outgrown your old reality, there is no going back, only forward, only upward, only deeper into alignment with what God has already written over your life. Chosen One, when God declares that you have outgrown your old reality, He is not making a suggestion. He is announcing a shift in authority. There are seasons where heaven permits survival, And then there are seasons where heaven demands surrender. You are no longer in survival mode. That era taught you resilience, discernment, and endurance, but it cannot host what is coming next. God does not elevate by accident. He elevates by alignment. And right now, alignment is being enforced in your life. Anointed One, let me speak plainly. When elevation approaches, the spirit becomes sensitive before circumstances change. You begin to feel things earlier. You sense misalignment faster. What used to take months to bother you now takes minutes. That is not weakness. That is refinement. God sharpens perception before He shifts position. He trains you to recognize what no longer belongs before He reveals where you are going. This is why your tolerance has decreased. You can no longer pretend. You can no longer numb yourself. You can no longer stay silent where your spirit is grieved. Chosen One. There is a holy intolerance forming within you. You are less patient with cycles that lead nowhere. You are less entertained by distractions that once filled the silence. You are less willing to shrink to keep peace. And some people around you may interpret this as distance, pride, or change. But heaven knows the truth. You are not changing for attention. You are changing because obedience is requiring a different posture. Anointed One. I remember a moment in my own journey when God began to remove my appetite for things I once chased. It was subtle at first. I still showed up. I still tried. But my spirit wasn't there anymore, and that confused me. I thought discipline meant forcing myself to stay committed to what no longer fed me, but God corrected me gently and said, "Discipline is not staying where I am finished. Discipline is following me when I move." That truth freed me, and I believe it is meant to free you too. Chosen One, heaven is intervening not because you asked perfectly, but because you listened faithfully. There are prayers you prayed years ago that are being answered now, just not in the form you expected. You asked for growth, and God answered with separation. You asked for provision, and God answered with preparation. You asked for clarity, and God answered by removing what clouded your vision. This is how divine wisdom works. It does not always explain itself immediately, but it always proves itself in time. Anointed One, do not underestimate the power of this moment. This is not merely emotional processing, this is spiritual repositioning. There are assignments that require a higher level of discernment. There are resources that demand stronger boundaries. There is influence that cannot be trusted to a heart still negotiating with fear. God is not just shifting your environment. He is fortifying your inner structure so that when the transfer happens, it does not overwhelm you. Chosen One. Some of you listening are carrying a quiet grief for a version of life you thought would last longer. Dreams that once felt secure are dissolving. Plans that once seemed certain now feel outdated. And that can hurt even when you trust God. Let me say this with compassion: mourning an old season does not mean you are unfaithful. It means you are human. Even Scripture shows us that there is a time to weep and a time to move forward. Grief and obedience can coexist. You do not have to suppress your feelings to honor the calling. Anointed One, heaven is not offended by your questions. It is offended by your refusal to move. Ask your questions. Bring your doubts. But do not anchor yourself to what God is loosening. When God begins to untie something, holding on will only bruise your hands. Release is not loss when heaven is involved. Release is trust in action. Chosen One, you are entering a season where obedience will bring acceleration. What used to take years will take months. What used to require struggle will flow with grace. But acceleration demands clarity. God will not speed you forward while you are still double-minded. This is why He is confronting areas of compromise, distraction, and emotional dependency now. Not to shame you, but to free you. Anointed One, I want you to hear this carefully. Wealth shifts do not begin with money, they begin with identity. Heaven does not transfer resources to someone who still sees themselves as small. It does not release provision to someone who believes they must beg for what God already approved. The inner work you are doing right now, the shedding, the questioning, the redefining, this is the real preparation. The visible blessing is only the echo. Chosen One. There was a time I thought breakthrough would feel loud. I thought it would come with fireworks and announcements. But when it arrived, it came quietly. It came through peace replacing panic. It came through discernment replacing desperation. It came through doors opening naturally instead of being forced. That is how I knew it was God. And that is how you will know too. What comes from heaven carries rest, not rush. Anointed One, if you are feeling pressure to decide quickly, to settle prematurely, or to grasp at the familiar out of fear, pause. God does not rush His chosen. He prepares them. Pressure without peace is not divine urgency. Divine urgency brings clarity, not chaos. The shift you are in right now may feel intense, but underneath it, there is a deep stillness forming. That stillness is the presence of God stabilizing you for what is next. Chosen One, your obedience in this season is already producing fruit you cannot yet see. Heaven records faithfulness differently than humans do. You may not have applause, you may not have confirmation from others, but alignment does not require consensus. It requires courage, and the fact that you are still listening, still yielding, still seeking truth, tells me that heaven is very involved in your story right now. Anointed One, let this truth anchor you. God never removes without replacing. He never closes without opening. He never subtracts without multiplying. But the order matters. Trust the sequence. Trust the silence. Trust the process. What is being prepared for you requires that your old reality fall away completely. Not because it was wrong, but because it was temporary. Chosen One, breathe. You are not drifting, you are being guided. And the God who began this shift will complete it with precision, favor, and supernatural support. Chosen One. There is a deeper layer to this transition that few people talk about, and it is the one that tests faith the most. When God says you have outgrown your old reality, He does not immediately replace it with clarity. Often He replaces it with silence, not absence, silence. This is the sacred pause where your old anchors are gone, but your new footing has not yet appeared. And in this space, heaven watches what you trust, when you can no longer rely on what used to work. Anointed One, this is where many people panic. They interpret silence as rejection, delay, as punishment, and uncertainty as failure. But those who are chosen learn a different language. Silence is not God stepping back. It is God drawing you inward. He quiets the noise around you so you can hear the adjustments happening within you. This is the space where dependence shifts from external confirmation to internal alignment. Chosen One. Let me share something personal. There was a season when everything external slowed down for me at the same time. Opportunities paused, conversations faded, momentum felt like it evaporated overnight, and my first instinct was to self-correct, to push harder, to network more, to fix something. But every time I tried to force movement, I felt resistance in my spirit. Eventually I stopped striving and sat still long enough to realize that God was dismantling my need to prove myself. He was teaching me how to stand without leaning on validation. Anointed One. This is an uncomfortable lesson, but it is a necessary one. God does not elevate insecurity. He heals it first. He does not fund fear. He uproots it. He does not amplify a voice that still doubts its own authority. The silence you are experiencing is not stagnation, it is stabilization. God is anchoring you so that when movement resumes, you will not be shaken by it. Chosen one. Notice how your prayers are changing. You are asking fewer surface questions and more identity-level ones. You are less interested in quick fixes and more concerned with truth. That shift is intentional. Heaven is recalibrating your desires so that what you attract next aligns with who you are becoming, not who you used to be. This is why some manifestations have been delayed, not because God said no, but because your inner posture needed to mature. Anointed One, I want to speak to the fear that tries to surface in this quiet season. The fear that says, what if nothing comes next? That fear is not prophetic. It is leftover survival programming. Your old reality trained you to believe that movement only happens through effort control and constant action. But your new season will operate on alignment, not exhaustion. God is teaching you a new rhythm, one where obedience replaces overthinking and trust replaces tension. Chosen one. There is a reason Scripture reminds us that those who wait on the Lord renew their strength. Waiting is not inactivity, it is expectancy. It is the posture of someone who knows heaven is working even when the earth is quiet. You are not being forgotten. You are being positioned where interference cannot reach you. Anointed One, this is also the season where false attachments surface. When the noise dies down, you begin to see clearly who and what you were leaning on that God never assigned to carry your weight. Some relationships were never meant to sustain you long term. Some routines were coping mechanisms, not callings. Some goals were substitutes for purpose. And now that the silence has exposed them, God is inviting you to release them without resentment. Chosen one release does not mean rejection, it means recognition. It means honoring the role something played without forcing it to play a role it was never designed for. When I learned this, it changed everything. I stopped clinging to expired versions of myself out of loyalty to my past. I stopped apologizing for evolving. I stopped negotiating with God over things He had already outgrown in me. And peace followed that obedience. Anointed One, heaven is very intentional about timing. It never rushes maturity. It never skips refinement. What you are becoming requires patience because it carries weight. Influence without grounding destroys people. Wealth without wisdom ruins them. Visibility without identity fractures them. God loves you too much to release you early. Chosen one. Some of you are sensing that a financial shift is near, but it has not yet materialized. Do not mistake delay for denial. Money follows alignment. Provision follows obedience. Transfer follows trust. God is aligning not just resources, but your relationship with resources. He is teaching you stewardship before abundance, discernment before access, restraint before overflow. Anointed One, the old version of you may have equated success with busyness. The new version understands that effectiveness flows from clarity. You are learning how to move with intention instead of impulse. You are learning how to say no without guilt and yes without fear. These are not small changes. These are the foundations of sustainable elevation. Chosen one, let me remind you of something crucial. Heaven does not build on shaky ground. If something feels like it is being stripped away right now, it is because it cannot withstand what is coming. God is reinforcing your inner life so that your outer life can expand without collapsing. This is mercy, even when it feels uncomfortable. Anointed One, stay attentive in this season. Pay attention to what drains you and what restores you. Notice what excites your spirit versus what only feeds your ego. The Holy Spirit often speaks through peace, not pressure. If something requires you to betray your values to obtain it, it is not aligned. If something brings clarity, even when it challenges you, it likely is. Chosen one, you are learning discernment at a higher level now. This is not the discernment of danger versus safety, but the discernment of good versus God. Many things that are good will not follow you into your next reality, not because they are sinful, but because they are insufficient. God is narrowing your focus so that your energy is not scattered when it matters most. Anointed one, trust what is unfolding. Trust the quiet. Trust the pruning. Trust the inner work. You are not being delayed. You are being refined. And refinement always precedes release. When the next door opens, you will walk through it with a steadiness you did not have before, not rushed, not desperate, not uncertain, but anchored. Chosen one. This is the kind of foundation that cannot be shaken. Chosen one, as this transition deepens, heaven begins to deal not just with what surrounds you, but with what has been ruling you internally. This is where the shift becomes undeniable. God does not only move you into a new reality, He uproots the old authority structures that once governed your decisions. Patterns that once controlled you quietly lose their power. Reactions that once came automatically now pause. You begin to notice space between impulse and response. That space is not hesitation, it is mastery being formed. Anointed one, this is the stage where God retrains your reflexes. In your old reality, survival taught you to move quickly, to protect yourself, to anticipate loss before it arrived. That mindset served you when resources were scarce and clarity was limited. But it cannot coexist with divine provision. Heaven does not flow through fear-based decision-making, so God lovingly interrupts it. Chosen one. You may have noticed that you no longer react the way you used to. Situations that once triggered anxiety now meet discernment. Conversations that once pulled you into emotional loops now feel distant. This is not detachment, this is authority. You are no longer being governed by what happens to you. You are being governed by what has been established within you. Anointed one. I want to share something real. There was a season when I realized I had been praying for elevation while still thinking like someone who expected loss. Even when opportunities came, I questioned them. Even when provision appeared, I worried it would disappear. God confronted me gently and showed me that my old reality had trained me to survive, but my new reality required me to trust. Trust is not passive. It is active agreement with heaven's assessment of your worth. Chosen one. This is why God has been addressing your self-talk. The quiet narratives you repeat when no one is listening. The subtle ways you diminish your expectations to avoid disappointment. Heaven is correcting those patterns not to shame you, but to prepare you. What you are about to steward requires a mind that does not sabotage blessing out of familiarity with struggle. Anointed one authority is not loud. It is settled. It does not argue for its place. It recognizes it, and that recognition begins internally before it ever manifests externally. You are learning to stand without explanation, to move without apology, to wait without panic. These are signs that your old reality no longer governs you. Chosen one. Some of you are noticing a change in how people respond to you, not because you are trying to assert dominance, but because something in you has shifted energetically. You are no longer seeking approval. You are no longer performing, and that unsettles those who benefited from your former uncertainty. This is normal. When God upgrades your internal authority, external dynamics must adjust. Anointed one, do not shrink to make others comfortable. You are not called to manage how people interpret your growth. You are called to obey the voice that led you here. When God promotes, He does not ask permission from those who were comfortable with your old position. Chosen one this season also brings clarity about responsibility. You begin to understand that elevation is not just about receiving, it is about stewardship. God is not just expanding what you can access. He is expanding what you are accountable for. This is why integrity is being refined now. This is why shortcuts are losing their appeal. You are being prepared to carry influence without corruption. Anointed one, there is a difference between opportunity and assignment. Opportunity can excite the ego. Assignment anchors the soul. God is teaching you how to discern between the two. Not every open door is aligned. Not every offer is heaven sent. And because your old reality trained you to say yes out of fear, God is now teaching you the power of a discerning no. Chosen one. I remember a moment when I declined something that looked perfect on paper. It promised visibility, speed, and validation. But my spirit felt heavy. Walking away felt risky, but staying felt misaligned. I chose alignment. Months later, I understood why. What I avoided would have compromised the very foundation God was building. That experience taught me that obedience often looks like restraint before it looks like reward. Anointed one. This is the kind of discernment being sharpened in you now. You are learning to trust the quiet check in your spirit more than the loud promise in front of you. This will protect you in ways you do not yet realize. Chosen one, as authority settles within you, fear begins to lose its leverage. Fear thrives on urgency and scarcity. But when heaven backs your steps, urgency dissolves. You no longer feel pressured to prove anything. You move deliberately. You wait confidently. You choose wisely. These are the traits of someone whose old reality no longer defines them. Anointed one, do not misinterpret this calm as complacency. It is composure. It is the stillness of someone who knows provision is not dependent on panic. This is how heaven-backed people move. They are not rushed. They are not reactive. They are responsive to divine timing. Chosen. One, timing is everything in this season. You are being taught that arriving early can be just as costly as arriving late. God is aligning you not just with opportunity, but with the moment opportunity can be sustained. This is why patience is being cultivated now. Not passive patience, but anchored patience. Anointed one. Let me speak to those who feel like they are carrying more responsibility internally than externally right now. You sense capacity expanding, but the assignment has not yet caught up. That gap is intentional. God always expands capacity before assignment. He always stretches the inner world before enlarging the outer one. This prevents collapse when the weight arrives. Chosen one. This is also why comparison feels empty now. Other people's timelines no longer provoke you the same way. You may still notice them, but they no longer define you. That is a sign of maturity. Heaven is weaning you off external metrics so you can operate by divine ones. Anointed one, your old reality was built on reaction. Your new reality will be built on revelation. Revelation requires stillness, humility, and trust. And you are learning all three even when it feels uncomfortable. Chosen one, do not rush this stage. Authority that forms slowly lasts longer. What God is building in you now cannot be rushed without consequence. Stay yielded, stay attentive, stay honest. The strength you are developing internally will soon support doors you once thought were too heavy to open. Anointed one, you are not becoming someone new. You are becoming who you were always meant to be without the limitations that once shaped you. and that is the most powerful transformation of all. Chosen one. There is a moment in every divine transition where God shifts from pruning to positioning. This is the phase where what has been refined internally begins to attract alignment externally. Not because you chased it, not because you announced yourself, but because heaven responds to order. When your inner world comes into alignment, your outer world must follow. This is spiritual law, and you are standing at the threshold of that law taking effect. Anointed one, you may have noticed subtle movements around you, small confirmations, unusual favor, conversations that feel different, doors that are not wide open yet but no longer locked. These are not coincidences, they are early signals. Heaven does not release everything at once. It releases in waves, testing stability before increasing flow. What you are seeing now is the first wave. Chosen one positioning often feels quieter than people expect. It does not come with noise or celebration. It comes with clarity. You start to see where you belong and where you do not. You start to sense where your energy is honored and where it is drained. This discernment is not making you judgmental, it is making you precise. God is teaching you how to steward access before access multiplies. Anointed one, let me ground this in real experience. There was a time when I thought opportunity meant being everywhere, saying yes to everything, proving availability. But when God began to reposition me, He removed my desire to be everywhere and replaced it with a desire to be accurate. Accurate with my time, accurate with my words, accurate with my commitments. That accuracy became the doorway to sustainability. And sustainability is what heaven prioritizes when wealth, influence, and responsibility are involved. Chosen one. Some of you are realizing that your next season will not be crowded. It will be focused, not isolated, but intentional. God is not shrinking your world. He is refining it. What once required 10 inputs will soon require 2. What once took constant effort will soon move with ease. This is not because you are doing less. It is because you are doing what aligns. Anointed one positioning also brings a recalibration of expectations. You no longer expect instant results. You expect right results. You are no longer impressed by speed. You are impressed by substance. This shift protects you from being distracted by counterfeit momentum. Not everything that moves quickly is God, and not everything that moves slowly is delayed. Chosen one. Heaven-backed wealth does not arrive through chaos. It arrives through structure. This is why God has been working so deeply on your internal order. Finances follow focus. Provision follows purpose. Transfer follows trust. You are being trusted with more because you have proven faithful with less, even when no one was watching. Anointed one. There are people listening who have been faithful in obscurity for a long time. You did the work without recognition. You held integrity when compromise would have been easier. You kept your heart soft when bitterness was justified. Heaven has recorded all of it. And now positioning is making room for reward without corrupting your character. Chosen one, do not despise the pace of this season. What is being built now is meant to last. God is not interested in quick elevation that leads to collapse. He is interested in sustainable expansion, the kind that strengthens your family, protects your peace, and multiplies impact beyond your own life. Anointed one, as positioning settles, you may feel less urgency to explain yourself. You realize that clarity does not require defense. Alignment does not need approval. Those who are meant to recognize you will. Those who are not will not. And both outcomes are acceptable. This is maturity speaking. Chosen one, you are also learning to receive without guilt. This is important. Some of you were conditioned to believe that rest must be earned through exhaustion, that abundance must be justified through suffering. God is healing that belief. Blessing is not payment for pain, it is provision for purpose. You are allowed to receive without apology. Anointed One, this shift will change how you handle money, opportunity, and influence. You will no longer chase them as proof of worth. You will steward them as tools of assignment. This distinction matters. When worth is settled internally, resources are no longer idolized externally. They become servants, not masters. Chosen One. Heaven is also repositioning your relationships. Not everyone can walk with you into what is coming. Some people were assigned to your survival season, not your expansion season. Releasing them does not mean cutting them off in anger. It means honoring the role they played without forcing them into a role they cannot sustain. Anointed One. I know this can feel heavy. Letting go of familiar dynamics always does. But what God is aligning now will feel lighter, even if it carries more responsibility. That is how you know it is from Him. His yoke is easy not because the work is small, but because it fits. Chosen One, pay attention to what feels natural now, not what feels impressive, not what looks good on the outside, what feels aligned. Alignment brings peace even when it stretches you. Misalignment brings anxiety even when it flatters you. Let peace be your compass. Anointed One, there is also a growing sense of readiness within you, not eagerness, but readiness. You are no longer desperate for the next thing. You are prepared for it. That difference is everything. Desperation repels clarity. Readiness attracts provision. Chosen One, this is why God waited. Not to withhold, but to prepare. What is coming to you will not destabilize you. It will build you. It will not distract you. It will focus you. It will not inflate your ego. It will expand your impact. Anointed One, stay grounded in this season. Celebrate quietly. Move wisely. Trust deeply. The positioning happening now is subtle, but it is powerful. When the next wave comes, you will recognize it not by noise, but by resonance. It will feel right. And when it does, you will step forward without fear, knowing you are not stepping into something new, but into something prepared. Chosen One. This is where the transition completes its work. Not with fireworks, not with noise, but with a quiet certainty settling into your spirit. You are no longer asking if God is moving you. You know He is. The confusion that once surrounded this season has thinned, and in its place is a grounded awareness. Your old reality is finished, and you no longer belong to it. Not emotionally, not spiritually, not energetically. The door has already closed inside you, even if the outer world is still catching up. Anointed One. This is the moment where obedience becomes embodied. You are no longer trying to obey. You simply are. Your choices flow from alignment rather than effort. You are not forcing faith. Faith has become your default posture. This is the mark of true transition, when what once required discipline now happens naturally because your inner world has been reordered. Chosen One. Let me say this clearly, heaven does not rush endings, and it does not rush beginnings. It seals them. And what you are experiencing now is sealing. God is sealing your discernment, sealing your identity, sealing your direction. This sealing brings peace that does not depend on circumstances. Even if everything around you has not fully changed yet, something within you has locked into place. That is irreversible. Anointed One, there is a strength that comes when you stop looking back. Not bitterness, not regret, just clarity. You no longer romanticize old seasons. You honor them, but you do not long for them. You understand that they shaped you, but they cannot house you. That understanding frees energy, and freed energy attracts provision. Chosen one. This is where many people miss what God is doing. They look for dramatic external confirmation, but God has already confirmed it internally. He trusts you now, and that trust is what qualifies you for the next assignment. Heaven does not entrust weight to those who still doubt their footing. You are steady now. Anointed one. You may notice that your prayers sound different. They are less frantic, less repetitive, less filled with urgency. They are quieter, more intentional, more surrendered. You are no longer trying to convince God. You are agreeing with Him. That agreement is powerful. Scripture reminds us that when two agree, things move. And right now, your spirit is in agreement with heaven. Chosen one. The supernatural transfer you have been sensing is not just financial, though resources are part of it. It is a transfer of authority, clarity, and trust. God is entrusting you with decisions that shape not just your life, but the lives of others connected to your obedience. This is why the process was slow. This is why the refinement was deep. Influence without formation is dangerous. You were spared from that. Anointed one, let me ground this in truth. When God finally moved me into the space I had been prepared for, it did not feel overwhelming. It felt familiar. That surprised me. I expected to feel intimidated, but instead I felt recognized. That is how you will know you are stepping into what was prepared. It will not feel foreign. It will feel like arrival. Chosen. One arrival does not mean perfection. It means alignment. You will still grow. You will still learn. But you will grow from a place of stability, not survival. You will learn from curiosity, not fear. That shift changes everything. Anointed one. This is also where gratitude deepens. Not gratitude for things, but gratitude for process. You begin to see how every delay protected you, how every ending redirected you, how every moment of discomfort refined you. Nothing feels wasted anymore. Even the pain carries purpose now. Chosen one. You are stepping into a season where heaven's backing becomes evident through consistency rather than spectacle. Provision shows up on time. Opportunities align without strain. Relationships stabilize instead of draining you. This is the fruit of alignment, and it lasts. Anointed one. I need to speak to the part of you that still wonders if you are truly ready. Readiness is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of trust. You trust God with your next steps. You trust yourself to listen. You trust the process that shaped you. That is readiness. Chosen one, do not underestimate how far you have come internally. The person you were at the beginning of this transition would not recognize the calm you carry now. That calm is not weakness. It is strength under control. Heaven values that. Anointed one, as this season completes its work, you are being invited into deeper rest. Not inactivity, but rest from striving, rest from comparison, rest from self-doubt, rest from over-explaining. This rest will become your new operating system, and from that, rest fruit will come. Chosen. One, remember this as you move forward. Your old reality trained you to survive. Your new reality will train you to steward. Steward time, steward energy, steward influence, steward provision, steward peace. This is a higher calling, and you are equipped for it. Anointed one, stay humble, stay attentive, stay surrendered. Not because you are afraid of losing what is coming, but because humility keeps you aligned with the source. Pride disconnects. Humility sustains. Chosen one. The season you are entering will not ask you to prove who you are. It will reveal it. You will no longer need to announce your growth. It will be evident. You will no longer need to defend your decisions. They will bear fruit. You will no longer need to seek permission. Heaven has already authorized this shift. Anointed One, breathe deeply and receive this truth. You have outgrown your old reality, and heaven has already made room for your new one. Walk forward with trust. Walk forward with peace. Walk forward knowing that what God has aligned cannot be reversed, and what He has completed cannot be undone. Chosen One, receive this moment with reverence, because what has been spoken over you is not symbolic, it is active. Heaven is not preparing to move, it is already in motion. The old reality has released you, and the new has already recognized you. This is your Kairos moment, your appointed time, the precise intersection where obedience meets fulfillment and alignment meets provision. Anointed One, may peace seal what God has shifted within you today. May clarity guard your steps. May discernment remain sharp as doors begin to open and pathways unfold. You are not stepping into uncertainty, you are stepping into what has been prepared in advance for you. The transfer you've sensed is real, the elevation you've endured for is valid, and the authority forming within you is heaven approved. Chosen One, remain faithful in the small movements and grateful in the quiet confirmations. Do not rush the unfolding and do not doubt the timing. What is meant for you will arrive without strain, without confusion, and without resistance. Walk forward in trust. Stay aligned with the flow of the anointing. Let gratitude go before you as a signal of faith. And if your spirit bears witness to this word, you may quietly mark this moment, perhaps by leaving a reflection in the comments or staying connected to this space, not out of obligation, but as alignment. Chosen One, go in peace. Heaven has gone ahead of you.